Classic Game Room is brought to you by Magnum Skywolf. CGR is supported by fans on Patreon. Thank you. Mr. Zurkon's currency is pain! Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 4! Ratchet and Clank debuted on the PlayStation 2 way back when in 2000 to an unlikely pair of heroes, a Lombax, and a chatty little sarcastic robot. Fast forward to 2016 and we get Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 4. Sort of a movie tie-in game with the 2016 animated film. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it just another movie game? Because you know how good most of them are. Or is it just more of the same? Yeah, you guessed it. It's that one. In some cases, more of the same isn't a bad thing, provided you weren't expecting anything new. For starters, it looks amazing. And how can any game with a flamethrower, jetpack, and disco ball be bad? The combat and the flow of the game is pretty much the same as it's ever been. It actually plays really well. The controls are great, as are the visuals, sound effects, audio design, music. There's a terrific weapon selection. Everything is here to make a good Ratchet and Clank game, except the desire to try anything new. They played it safe with this one. It's like the new Star Wars movie. It's basically a greatest hits collection of all the other cool stuff from previous Ratchet and Clank games. But we finally get a Ratchet and Clank game on the PlayStation 4. What took them so long? So really, who can complain? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Personally, I like it, but I went back last night actually and started playing Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time. Which I've had on my shelf forever and just forgot to play. The visuals and camera controls are definitely better here in the new one, but it doesn't have quite that spark of imagination. It's like their assignment was put out another Ratchet and Clank game. Make sure it has a grind rail sequence, make sure it's got Quark, make sure there's some mildly amusing dialogue, Mr. Zurkon, and loads of ridiculous weapons to collect and upgrade. It has all those things, and more. But so do all the previous games in this series. If it didn't have those things, it wouldn't be good, so, you know, who can complain here, really? It's probably not the best game in the Ratchet and Clank series, but it's still a good game in the Ratchet and Clank series. I could sum up the whole review with that, but I shall continue, because I'm a fan. I like these games. They're good fun. And by 2016, the family-friendly 3D action platformer genre has all but vanished. Save for a couple examples like maybe Skylanders, these games have gone the way of the Lombax. So it's nice to see one that's a great science fiction action game, but at the same time, one that can be played with the kids. It's a bit cartoony violent, you're shooting things, but it's not ultra violent. There's some cheeky humor, but it's never inappropriate. Ratchet and Clank is a good game for everyone on your PlayStation 4. No, you won't find this on Xbox, or sadly Vectrex. If you've never played a Ratchet and Clank game before, it's a great starting point. Because it's fun and approachable, but there's room for improvement. So after you've played this one, pick up the Ratchet and Clank collection on PlayStation 3, A Crack in Time on PlayStation 3. They're all pretty cheap these days, too. The level design in here is pretty good. There's lots of room to explore, it's bright and colorful, but nothing you haven't seen before from this series. A few of the levels let you use a jetpack, which is a lot of fun. You'll be collecting bolts to buy weapons, and there's hidden things everywhere. When you beat the game, and the end boss is really good by the way, when you beat the game, you'll unlock a challenge mode playthrough or something. There's numerous difficulty settings, and at no point does it feel like they're nickel and diming you with DLC. It feels like a complete game, the kind of game we would have gotten on the PlayStation 2 way back when. It's not without its flaws though. These spaceship sequences feel half-assed, and the puzzle solving disrupts the flow of the game. Those of you who spent the night watching me play this on Twitch know I hate puzzles. Also, I'm awful at them. These just aren't fun. They don't add anything to the game. They just kind of slow it down, and maybe that makes it feel longer than it is, because Ratchet and Clank is not a huge game. That's not to say it needs to be, but just know going into it, it'll take you a couple hours to finish. But it's a lot of fun, so you'll probably want to play it again. It's pretty much what I expected from the next Ratchet and Clank game. I just wish we would have got this a few years earlier as a platform showpiece for the PlayStation 4 instead of knack. This one is good fun. If you've enjoyed the other Ratchet and Clank games, I think you'll enjoy it, but you'll find that it's not the best entry in this series. There's room for improvement here on the PlayStation 4, so hopefully the next one gives us a bit of innovation. Aside from that, who doesn't love a good Lombax, disco ball, and flamethrower? It's Ratchet and Clank. And remember, Mr. Zircon is here to kill. Mr. Zircon has a classic game room. Shout out and thank you to Santa Kelvin from Cuba, Missouri once again. Thank you for delivering pain and suffering and this awesome game. Thank you for watching. Follow Classic Game Room on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Don't miss Magnum Skywolf, also on Patreon. Welcome to the club. It's the Lord Carnage Club, where I celebrate these backers on Patreon by shouting their name in a volcano. Introducing Michael Fernandez. Oh yeah! Michael Nelson! Lord Carnage approves. Jim. Moriarty! Sérgio Matheus! Hergert! Jason from Kamloops! British Columbia! Busy! Signal! Alciver! Sean Zoltek. I'm just kidding again. Sean Zoltek! Stephen Chucknick from New Jersey. Landon Ellerbe! He's the administrator of these credits. Philipp Straubenmueller of Vienna, Austria. Woo! Jack Stavris from Australia, home of Mad Max. Ohad Kanne! Cue the thunder. Jeff, CapDauntless, Breyer, Ric de Barros. Out of sight. Will. Kid, Shuriken, fatality. Ship, Senkbeil. That was too evil, wasn't it? Let's try that again. Ship, Senkbeil. See you next time on Classic Game Room. Thanks for watching.